Hello there, people of the internet. How's everybody doing today? I'm doing alright, thanks for asking. I got myself right here. This is a sporterized 1903 Springfield. So, normally I try to steer away from sporterized rifles, not unless like the price is right, and it all really depends on the situation in which I actually get around to getting the rifle. So this rifle right here, there's a couple of good and a couple of bad about it. So now I have myself a 1903 Springfield in the collection. Originally I did not. I had a 1917 that has also been sporterized, but no 1903. My 1917 is set up in a manner to where the sights on it are very sketchy and unreliable, and it is just not a good 30-06 bolt action rifle for what it is that I would like it to be. It's good for representation of a 1917 for this channel, but besides that, that's about it. So, kind of the same thing with this 1903 Springfield. This is, from what I can tell with the serial number we have there, I believe that this is a 1918, maybe 1919 production, somewhere in that ballpark, so either late World War I or right after World War I. This right here is in very, very good shape considering its age. I really enjoy the trigger pull on these things. But that being said, obviously, she is very heavily sporterized. And this is not something I'll be able to unsporterize. The barrel has been cut down a little bit. I'm betting that the crown was a little worn down. Barrel's been cut down. We have this aftermarket front and rear sight on the thing. The rear sight does fold for easier storage and whatnot. We have a drilled and tapped receiver, so the receiver's no good. But that said, these right here, they line up very nicely, unlike my 1917, so I could mount a scope onto this thing if I felt like it. Besides that, I mean, the barrel and the receiver and the stock, those are gone, so I guess the only thing I would really be able to unsporterize is the bolt and whatnot, because that appears to be original. But this is just one of those rifles that it's not going to be unsporterized, but I did get it at a good deal. I got this, I won it at an auction on Gunbroker, got it just shy of just north of $200. So that is definitely a big plus for me. It does have this crack on the stock right here, but it's been repaired. That is a repaired crack, so I will have to keep an eye on that as I shoot this thing. I'm not all that concerned about it. It'd be different if this was an original stock, but it's not an original stock, so yeah, if that breaks or opens up or something like that, I'm just going to wood glue that back together. So I am not at all concerned about that. Our magazine cutoff here, this is one of the surefire signs that you have a 1903 Springfield. The magazine cutoff here is, it's not able to actually cut off the magazine because I can't get the magazine switch to go low enough because there's no cutout in the stock on this thing. So I just have on. My magazine is just going to always be on, because whenever I flip it to right about here, that is the bolt release, so if I were to cycle this bolt, the bolt would just come out. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at. Besides that, the stock is nice and shiny. With it being aftermarket stock, I'm not concerned about going out into the Florida jungles and scratching it up or anything like that. And with the receiver and barrel cut down and modified and whatnot, I'm not too concerned with wearing off the finish and whatnot on the rifle. That being said, the crown on this rifle was very beautifully done. The rifling inside of the barrel itself, I don't see any pitting or anything like that. So, again, very beautifully done. Our front sight does have checkering on the actual, what would you call that? Like the sight ramp that leads up to the front sight, which is good because that helps get rid of sun glare. Sun glare here in Florida is definitely a really big, annoying issue, so that helps to get rid of it so you don't have like a shiny surface underneath your front sight that stops you from seeing. So this should be a 5-shot bolt-action rifle. Open her up, press this down, see if we get our full 5-shot magazine. Sure looks like it. Follower, that seems to be working okay. The spring is obviously working okay. Let's close this up, and we'll test that trigger pull and functionality. Trigger pull, okay, so we go back a little tiny bit. and let's see how many pounds of pressure it takes to set this thing off. Okay, still going. Okay, so I'd say like 4, maybe 5 pounds of pressure on that trigger. Not great, but not terrible. Definitely has not been worked on. I'm sure that's just a military spec trigger. One thing I do like about this that does yield towards being good in the accuracy department is this right here is a free-floating barrel on this free-floating stock. If I push this barrel and stock together, I'm not sure how well it's popping up on camera, but there's movement. The stock right here where you're grabbing is separate from our barrel right here, and that oftentimes yields really good accuracy. The barrel just connects to the receiver, and the receiver itself is what connects to the stock. So the stock is not in contact with the barrel, and that should, in theory, give me better accuracy. Hopefully me setting down this rifle on a surface doesn't give enough pressure to press the two together. That's when you start to really suffer from accuracy. So if I were to put a scope on this thing, obviously my accuracy would not be great since I can't really see all that well with these iron sights. But if I were to put a scope on this thing, I imagine that this would be quite the accurate rifle. I'm not sure how much velocity I would get because the barrel is shorter. Let's see if I can make some assumptions on just how short it is. I'd say that's about a foot to, yeah, I'd estimate it around 22 inches, but that's just a guess. It might be between 20 and 22 inches, somewhere in that ballpark. So this right here is my new 1903 Springfield that I just got off Gunbroker for not a lot of money, and now I got one for the channel. We'll have to bring this out to the range and actually check it out. Doesn't matter how nice it looks and whatnot if it doesn't actually go bang, although I'm sure that it is actually going to go bang. So at the price point that I got this at, even though it's not something that could be unsporterized very easily, I'm still quite pleased with it. So this is where I'm going to end this video. Thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garrett. Shame that bolt action shotguns aren't more mainstream.